Okay, good win today. Offensively, I thought we were very good again. 56% maybe shooting for the game, and had pretty good balance. Good to see Alex make a couple shots. We got to get Hunter going back again, but Chase was outstanding. A little disappointed with our defense in the second half. I thought that, we just didn't play with the same intensity that we needed to throughout. But give Upstate kids credit, man. Their guards are good. Gainey's a really good player. Boy, is he talented. And they just did a nice job of executing their stuff. I thought they really screened very hard, and their big guys are big and physical. And so they laid, physical screens on you. And when they got shooters like they do that can really rip it, you can find yourself on your heels a little bit. So give Dave Dickerson credit. I thought he had his guys really ready. Having played Duke, they were ready to play another high major and show they could play better, and they did. And but this was good for us to bounce back. Again, I thought very good offensive efficiency, and enough defense in spurts to create the lead that we needed to win the game.
Coach, turnovers really did you in on Friday night in the first half. Have to be happy with the way you protected the ball better.
Yeah, we've protected it, except for that half. We've done a very good job in all the other games. That's something that's important to us. We value that. I think we shared it really well. Again, 17 assists, I think, tonight. So guys are finding the extra man or open man with the extra pass and moving the ball. That was that, and obviously our defensive rebounding was better tonight.
With Alex scoring 18, how much of that was him being more aggressive, and how much was it just getting looks?
It's a little bit of all of it. I think, we encouraged him to, he's got to be a little more aggressive when he can. Sometimes you just got to find an open court situation. When you're a shooter, it's like that offensive rebound that they kick out, and your man happened to go in and help on the glass, and so you kind of get one. Or in transition, somebody gets lost. That happens for, shooters that help them have good nights, right? And I think that happened at least once tonight for Alex. And then, I think we had a penetration situation where Brevin refused a ball screen, went to the paint. They came over to rotate. We kicked it to the corner, and Chase made a one more because Alex's man guarded Chase. So that kind of helped him get one. But certainly that was good to see him knock in a couple today.
With Tyson trying to get him going?
Yeah, I think he's pressing a little, right? Like sometimes these guys come back and they're, nobody's worked any harder than Hunter. He's phenomenal in his approach, and he just wants to play well so bad. And there's probably a couple of the shots in both of the games that he fumbled one in the corner and shot it. I mean, that's like a cardinal sin to us. And then he shot one on a high-low play that should have been a pass into PJ. PJ's wide open under the basket. And he shot one at South Carolina that, he airballed it. That's a guy who's just trying too hard, right? We just got to try to get him to relax and play. Now, I thought he did some other things that were good tonight. He had 4 other baskets, which are in 12 rebounds. So he's still playing pretty well. But obviously, with his shooting, you'd like to see that go in a little bit.
Oh, he had his wrist taped up from that spill.
He took a huge spill in practice, before the South Carolina game, and there was for about 24 hours we weren't sure if he's going to play. And he played in a lot of pain. It's been bothering him, and he's had to, he's still getting treatment, and it was just a situation where he drove to the basket and got hit and fell on it. I think it was Wednesday or Thursday of last week, Thursday maybe. Then he wore a brace for a couple days and all that. So there's there's some other things going with him.
Are you tightening the rotation a little bit?
Our young guys just have to play better in practice too. They just haven't given us enough yet. Even Josh has got to do a little bit more. He was better tonight. He was very good defensively in the second half at South Carolina. Probably the best half of defense that Josh has played. He had a couple long closeouts that he did a great job of and stopped the guard and kept him from getting a score. He had one time where he was in a gap and he deflected a ball that led to a run out. And then he had another one where he was high hands on a ball screen that he deflected and led to another run out. And so his defense in the second half at South Carolina was what kept him on the floor. He played very well. Tonight he was fine. He was okay. He hasn't been able to get himself kind of on track on offense. Hopefully that'll happen. But, for him to be 20 minutes or more, he's just got to keep sustaining. And, I've noticed a little more urgency. I've challenged him, and in practice he's been a little bit better. And so, he's still a young player. All those guys are. I thought Dylan played well tonight. That's what we need. We're not looking at Dylan to come in and shoot a bunch of balls. He had an open three, went in and out. He had to play around the basket. That's fine. But he's just got to run our team, get us into our stuff, play with pace, really defend. And he's a solid defender, when he plays well and he's locked in. And so that's why he's getting a few minutes as well.
I don't know if it was their MO to shoot 15 threes in the first half, but how much of an emphasis was defense?
It was. They shoot the ball. Gainey, made 70 last year or whatever it was, and he's 49%. I mean, he's elite. Bailey, I think, coming into the game was, had made 4 or 5. Rideau had made 3 in 2 games. So they had guys that all were making multiple threes in games, and you come into these games and those guys make 10, 12 threes, and they're going to get 75 on you. I just late in the game when we got the lead a little bit, I think our guys just kind of gave in a little, and we didn't sustain our defensive intensity and effort a little bit, let them score a couple, and they made a couple tough shots. But that frustrated me a little bit.
Is BJ right now just kind of around the 20-minute mark?
Yeah, right now that's pretty much where he's at. We'll see if we would need him a little bit more, maybe. The hard part is he needs to play. Like he just needs, you can watch him and see he's very talented, so he can score some, but like he really isn't moving as well as he was last year by any means. I mean, and it's all obvious and normal, and he's just got to get back to that, right? And but obviously we're glad to have him. He's got great hands and finishes, but he's got a lot to work on to get better.
Where's his conditioning right now?
It's okay, C+, where you would expect it to be, for a guy who's been out and been doing a lot of things. Basketball's just different, and obviously what happens when you get tired, right? Then you're going to make mental mistakes. I mean, you're supposed to be up to touch on a ball screen, and you're just 1 or 2 steps back, and now the guy turns the corner, he gets his shoulders forward, and now you're guarding something different. And if you can keep his shoulders sideways, and so they're just, it's like you're a step behind. And so there are times right now on both ends where he's a step behind, and there's been some plays that we're trying to execute and run, and he's just out of rhythm. He was, the South Carolina play at the end of the game, one of the plays, he totally blew it, right? Like just, so but that's all part of it. He just hasn't been out here. I mean, we're asking him to do a lot, and then you throw him in a game like South Carolina, which is as hard as it can be, and he's still very productive. He's competitive. He's very competitive. He's hard on himself.
How long are you expecting it to take maybe at this point for him to
I think it'll take a while. I really do. Like that's what I preached it before. If you can go back and look at my interviews, I said, everybody, we got to be patient now. You don't just flip the switch. And when you're a big guy, big guys are different, man. Like we don't walk around carrying his weight and his size and his feet. Like those 18 feet, that they need some. We got to do some rat-a-tat-tat drills to get those feet going again. And he's got to gain his confidence, right, to be able to trust everything. And so it's almost like he had a tough fall tonight. For a second, I'm always like, oh my God, get up, please get up, right? But then when he's okay, he probably needs that. He needs to get knocked down. He needs to be off balance. He needs to be put in situations where he just has to trust that, hey, I'm fine. And I think every once in a while you're naturally going to be a little tentative and just a little unsure, and so it's just he just needs to play games and practice and get basketball experience back under his belt. So, but I think it'll take, a month or more at least, maybe 2.
Has Brevin surprised you at all with it doing more than just shooting?
A little, but we knew he could do some of that when he was younger. Obviously, last year his knee was really bothering him, and so and that was kind of his deal there. They needed a shooter, and so he just spaced. And they had some other guys that could get downhill and create angles and get him shots, and then he just he didn't probably physically wasn't able every night to go do that. So we thought that he could do that, and obviously there's some space because Alex can shoot, Hunter can shoot, and there is some space out there. Chase Hunter can shoot. I mean, he made 4 threes tonight, so there is some gaps if you can punch a gap. If we kind of get the ball moving the right way and create an angle, there's a gap to drive every once in a while. And so today we also thought today we really emphasize shot faking, right? Emphasize using our shot fake, and they were going to be aggressive, and we thought we could get by them, and so I thought we did a good job of that.
Coach, 17 assists, had a lot of nice entry passes and dishes in the paint. How pleased are you with your
Very
passing?
pleased. Yeah, I thought again this was a high offensive efficiency game. We didn't turn it over a little bit, a couple bad ones, but you're always going to have a few trying to make a play or be aggressive or make a good feed to somebody. 1 or 2 shots that I didn't like, probably 2 or 3 shots I didn't like, a little quick. But shooting numbers, efficiency numbers, sharing the ball numbers, this team has been great at passing and sharing the ball.
What's your assessment of Ian in the last 2 games?
He's played well. The South Carolina game was frustrating because when you go back and watch the film, we had a lot of shots in the paint that pretty good quality shots that we were 3 for 19 on non-rim shots. So those are 2-point shots that aren't at the rim, and that cost us. We shot 7 for 18 from 3, I think. Love to make another 1 or 2, but and I think our rim percentage was okay. Obviously, they were big, physical. Josh Gray blocked some shots, but Ian, he had 4 shots within 10 feet, went 0 for 4. Man, you can't go 0 for 4 and win those games. Chase had a couple of plays in the paint pretty deep that, we just need 1, right? So we have, those are the tough baskets that when you lose close games, you're kind of looking back on guys, we got to finish a play here. There's no other way to say it. You get it to a pretty good position on the floor, got to have a bucket. And sometimes that's easier said than done. He's a young guy. I thought his second half tonight was good. This has been hard for our team a little. I said this when we were waiting for PJ to get back, that Ian and Ben have played all, they basically been playing 20 minutes together in scrimmages and exhibitions and practice games. And when we play against each other 5-on-5, they're going head-to-head against each other the whole time. Now PJ comes back and is going to play 20 minutes. What does that do to the rotation? What's that do to their rhythm? How does that affect other things? They haven't practiced at the 4. Ian can play some 4, and he hasn't practiced there as much. And so now he's in a game like South Carolina where they're big and we're playing him some in there. That's adjustment. And he'll be fine eventually, but our teams had to adjust to PJ coming back, and that's even some of our defensive coverages are a little different based on him because he's not quite as mobile right now as Ben and Ian. Goes with the territory.
Has Chase been about as good as you could hope for as far as scoring?
Yeah, I think he's played very well. He's played extremely well. Tonight was incredible. Asking a guy to handle it as much as he did and get other guys involved, and he still was 4 for 6 from 3. Still had 3 assists. 35 minutes. I wish that was about 30, 31. But he's played well. We need to keep him out there.
I think he's giving you things that maybe you didn't even get with 2 good point guards last year.
Well, he's got a little bit more size and athleticism to play over the top occasionally and put a little more direct pressure on the paint because he can finish more in there. That's the advantage, right? And so he's done a nice job of showing some poise when he's gotten in there. And when he makes a couple buckets in there, that makes us even more difficult to guard. When he can make a couple 12-footers, 10-footers. I mean, I don't want him shooting a million of those, but he's got to put some pressure on the defense. He made a great player. Might have been Dylan who got in there and dropped one off. I think it was Dylan who dropped one in late to PJ. That was a really good play with poise. So, that part of it physically, he's helped us.
He's a pretty good rebounder for a point guard, isn't he?
He's done all right. He needs to keep doing better. We've talked a lot about that with him. We've got to keep pushing him in that direction because then there's no outlet. He pushes and leads your break.
What do you see this season from Upstate? Young team, doesn't look like a team that's going to finish last in the Big South.
Oh no, they'll do okay. They Dave does a really good job with them. They play hard, and physically, they've got to be one of the, got to be a good sized team for their league. Their guard, like Brodnex, even as a point guard, is 6'3" and good shoulders, and Gainey's a big, strong kid, and Bailey's not tall, but he's put together. So like physically, and I told our guys coming into the game, hey guys, physically this team, has some high major physical tools in terms of athleticism and physicality, and their big guys, when they put the two big guys out there, there's some big bodies out there screening you, and you got to work to keep them off the glass. So. I think they'll do a nice job this year. I know they need one or two more guys healthy, but they got good pieces.
He would be a good player in this conference.
He's a good player. He's talented. There's a reason they're doing all the things they're doing for him because he can put it in the basket.
Anybody on Zoom have anything to add for Coach?
Coach, I was curious about the orange uniforms tonight. Did Upstate not
Just
bring
because of the gray. My
Any
ops
green
guy
ones?
came to me and said, "Hey, I don't really know what was the deal with their green ones, but they were in gray. Maybe their new ones didn't show up, or somebody's jersey got whatever." And so we went orange, and it all worked out. Maybe we'll do it again. All right. Should have done it on Friday. Solid Orange Friday, right?